There's a mug that they'll hold up, say, liberal tears, and they laugh as they drink it.
I took some chicken.
Yeah.
I put some cheese on it. Then I covered it with
what?
I covered it with cat treats.
Yeah.
Then guess what?
What?
I gave it to the cat.
If you don't support Joe Biden, if Democrats don't work together, this is what we will get in 2024. Because I believe if Trump runs in 2024, he stands a decent chance of getting reelected.
Morning.
So, Michael, the big name that it looks like is going to be Secretary of State is Tony Blinken, a longtime advisor to Joe Biden, very well known in this town. He was his top advisor when he was chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, for example. What do you think that this pick says about the way that Joe Biden is approaching this administration?
Look, I think the Biden administration is looking to get the job done without causing a lot of waves. We spent the last 4 years constantly chasing headlines and reacting to Twitter. And so I think what Joe Biden is going to do is have a boring presidency.
Yeah, but that's part of the issue, right, Phil? Which is that, Tony Blinken, by all accounts, clear a liberal interventionist streak, quote unquote, in several profiles that I've read of him back from the Obama era, supported Biden during the war in Iraq, actually broke with Biden over bombing because he wanted to argue to bomb Libya. I mean, this is a pretty significant kind of policy move that Biden is laying out there. I don't even think he necessarily sees it that way. But what do you think it's going to do to accelerate some of these trends and debates that we've seen in American politics since Trump came along?
I think the feather in Trump's cap, at least according to people close to him, is actually his ability not to further any foreign wars.
No, you're kidding me.
Yes, we're still in Iraq and Afghanistan, but he sees it as a major accomplishment that even though the security apparatus fought him on this, he has not accelerated those. I think with Blinken, we already see where the opposition is forming. You have Republicans who are grumbling that this is going to be a popular pick in Tehran and Beijing. We'll see if that's actually true. But I think that, aside from the big picture policy, we know that this guy was with Biden during the Obama years. We know what happened around the globe under their leadership. I think what this shows, at very, bottom level, is that Biden is going to stick with the people that he is comfortable with. He is going to stick with people who have been loyal to him throughout his career, and he's not going to change things. So if you liked interventionist Biden, you're probably going to get interventionist Biden again.
Oh!
President Trump is pulling focus on a 2024 run, according to the New York Times report. A Trump advisor said the president may make it official in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, no. You're kidding me.
Well, remember, President Trump filed for re-election on inauguration 4 days ago. He doesn't like to waste a lot of time. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes similar moves in the next couple of months. What I'm looking at as we try to determine what his next steps are going to be is how the guy can make money. He's going to clearly try and leverage a lot of these new relationships to do two things. One, make money because he needs to. He's in an incredible amount of debt, but at the same time, settle scores. I think there's been a lot of noise about the potential of a Fox competitor. That seems unlikely because of the finances. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, Donald Trump start hitting sort of the speaking circuit. And I think that more likely and perhaps much more interesting is a book by this guy. He has said numerous times that eventually he'll sort of pull back the curtain. And, certainly there are a lot of voters who would go buy that book, and it would make him money, and it would also prepare him for a second run.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing, Michael. I'm not sure if I've asked you this before, but one of Crystal's contentions, which I find really interesting, is if Trump were to run in 2024 and immediately announce it, would it freeze the Democratic Party like in time? Would it make it so that if you criticize Biden or if you have any kind of internal fights, that it would be accused, like it was in 2020 campaign, of trying to help Trump? Like, how do you see him as a unifying force in the Democratic Party, both for ill and for good?
So I think for Democrats, it actually would be useful because he gives us a foil. If you don't support Joe Biden, if Democrats don't work together, this is what we will get in 2024. Because I believe if Trump runs in 2024, he stands a decent chance of getting reelected.
I all want to go back to brunch, but we have these insanely huge problems, both that, exist in 2020 specifically, like the pandemic, but of course, longer term structural factors that in many ways led us to Donald Trump to start with. Do you think that Tony Blinken and the sort of standard issue, Democratic Party operatives who've been around forever, who have a very particular neoliberal worldview, do you think putting them back in place is consistent with getting that big presidency that you think that Joe Biden needs?
Look, I think Joe Biden's going to put together a fantastic cabinet. When you have people like Tony Blinken, but you also have people like Michelle Foulmroy and the like, we're going to get back to being actually able to know that the people who are doing their jobs are able to do their jobs. Now, we may not agree with every policy decision they make. That's how government works. But knowing that we have competent people who actually are following rules and laws and norms, I think is very important. He can't get too safe and he can't get too comfortable. There are certainly things that we're going to have to tackle and issues that we're going to have to address. But I think most Americans should be really comfortable just knowing they can go back to focusing on their day-to-day activities while the government does what it's supposed to do.
See, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you that that's probably the best case for Biden. And yet, Phil, I mean, a lot of people voted against competently managed war in 2016. And I think that that's what this kind of, competently managed globalism is still globalism. Like, competently managed shipping jobs to China is actually, frankly, worse than incompetently doing it. And so when I'm seeing and I'm looking at these trends and the accelerations, I'm seeing quite clearly what that matchup in 2024 might look like. And Phil, just to get you in on this, which is that these are the trends which led to Trump's victory in 2016. And if you're doing this on an even more, like you were saying, Michael, on a competent scale, I just think that's going to ripen the environment. When I'm seeing and I'm looking at these trends and the accelerations, I'm seeing quite clearly what that matchup in 2024 might look like, which is that these are the trends which led to Trump's victory in 2016.
Oh, no. You're kidding me.
Who let the dogs out?